cornerback. You can't act like a cornerback when you're playing quarterback. Quarterback's a humble position.
But Tom had no sway on getting Shedeur or staying away from him. As the draft approached, a lot of dream scenarios for Shedeur Sanders was him to end up with his mentor through his collegiate career, being Tom Brady. Obviously, he now has a role with the Raiders. I believe he's a partial owner. He can pull some strings around there from what I understand. Nothing major yet, but definitely seems like somebody who's close enough to get into the ears of some of the owners and the GMs and say, hey guys, Shedeur's our guy, and we could get him in the 3rd or 4th round. But that did not seem to happen. Now, somebody was very, very excited to point that out, being Mr. Skip Bayless, and it seems like Tom Brady is responding to Skip Bayless. He's not responding about Shedeur Sanders, but really more about Skip Bayless pole jockeying and riding so hard for Shedeur. But, I mean, why wouldn't you ride for Shedeur? Look, Skip Bayless's career is fading. The Sanders name gets a lot of clicks. I think he's trying to attach himself to one last rope. But shout out to him for defending. But he wasn't the only person. Like I said, Young Thug was defending him. Now we got defenses from Gronkowski who's saying great things as well. If we can go down here, Cam Ward on a new video is defending him too in a Will Compton video. Will Compton didn't like that. But apparently Warren Moon is coming out against, I don't know. We're about to get into it. So Cam, Shedeur's got a lot going on, but the first we're going to start with is Tom Brady. After that, we're going to look at Tom Brady's history if we have time, because, you know, there's a deep history there. We got the clips. We got everything. We got him talking about Tom Brady. So we'll go deeper in there. And then Antonio Brown is getting into it with Tom Brady, which led to him getting into it with Deion Sanders. Dog, I don't know what's happening anymore, but I'm going to try to keep this as football as possible. Let's hop right into it. So, as you know, Skip Bayless was out there, you know, and I think the biggest issue that Tom Brady's going to reveal is not that Skip Bayless was upset that Shedeur was falling. That's fine. But it's that you're trying to put the blame on Tom Brady, who, again, I believe is a partial owner, right? Tom Brady isn't the king of the Raiders. Like, he can't make all the decisions. And I guarantee you, I don't think he has direct influence. I mean, he probably has influence on personnel. Let's not get that, you know, mixed up. I'm sure he has influence, but he doesn't have the last say so in the call of what the Raiders are doing. And they just got a quarterback. Like, I know that would be great for him to sit behind, but they just got a quarterback in Geno. So it's a new regime. You got Pete Carroll that's trying to set his own vibration going on. Like, I don't know why you would put this on. So he said it's now pretty clear. Tom Brady, who mentored Shedeur, told the Raiders not to take Shedeur. Duly noted. I mean, that's a lot to assume. You know what I'm saying? So I have to assume Tom Brady said no to Shedeur. How could Tom Brady's team pass on Shedeur again and again and again? Brady reportedly coached Shedeur. Brady reportedly was involved in Raiders draft decision-making. Okay, so apparently he is, like I said, I would not be surprised if he had direct influence on the personnel, but the quarterback of all positions, right? I think that's going to be something else. Now, y'all let me know right now in the comments, do you think Tom Brady should have, you know, I don't know, maybe stuck his chin out a little more? Because we have reports coming out that the Browns GMs reportedly worked hard to land Shedeur Sanders in the 2025 NFL draft. They were starting late in the 4th round. Cleveland started calling teams for Shedeur, deal in the late 4th round, around 135. Dion FaceTime Andrew Berry. That's not really important. But belief was most teams had a day 2 grade on him. And I hate the fact that everybody was like, we can't do revisionist history on both sides. We can't, after he falls to the 5th round, all the Barstool people, which I actually got this from Barstool. Thanks, Barstool. I got this little snippet because the rest of their article was terrible. But they in this article, they talk about, oh, you know, because Shedeur's terrible. And that's what happens when you're terrible. Obviously, nothing else is going on. It's like, dog, you're smart enough to understand that I'd hope that you're smart enough to understand the Barstool people, instead of being disingenuous, that a lot of factors do come into play. Sometimes, yeah, it does have to do with his play. Yeah, it does have to do with his that, but it also has to do with other things that we can't get too deep into it. But I did like the fact that they took this out of the Daily Mail. So apparently Tom Brady is deeply unimpressed with Skip Bayless and believes he made a fool out of himself by blaming him for Shedeur Sanders' NFL humiliation last week. I have to agree. An insider told Daily Mail, Tom thinks that Skip Bayless is an idiot for thinking he had anything to do with Shedeur's downfall in the NFL draft. Tom has limited say in what players the Raiders pick in the NFL draft or whomever they sign. Pete Carroll, head coach, and Mark Davis, owner, have the final say on everything with the team. Will they talk to Tom for his advice? Absolutely. But Tom had no sway on getting Shedeur or staying away from him. Now that Tom is in the media himself and has to deal with Skip forever, it's just another ridiculous accusation that Tom isn't going to give any life for Skip's benefit. Now, here's what I'll say before we get into, because we're going to hear we're going to go down the Tom Brady saga, and then at the end, we'll get to the other comments. I started off by saying, hey, look, Tom Brady doesn't have the last say. He doesn't have the biggest say. What I'm not going to let Tom Brady get off the hook. And again, that's somebody's talking about something or whatever. And you're going to hear the way Tom Brady is going to be talked about. You're going to hear about this guy. I got these are years. This is a 7-year-old video that we're going to get into of them. Actually, we could just, I'll probably be playing it while they talk. You know what I'm saying? They're getting in work with Tom Brady. And I say that to say, yes, Tom, do I think that you didn't have final say? Yes. And we can't completely blame Tom Brady on this. At the same time, you would think that as passionate, as close as they've worked together, just off of the person he is, forget the film. At this point, I'm looking for some nepotism. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just like, Tommy, can you look out for a kid? Can you look out for Shedeur? At this point, where the nepotism at? Because my thing is, I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm not saying that he didn't do it. And I would have to assume that he did. But if I would have to assume that if I was Tom Brady, I worked with him all these years. I taught this kid. I know this kid. I've texted this kid through all the ups and downs of his collegiate career. I would be banging on the door of Mark Davis's door, being like, hey, yo, it's the 3rd round. Geno's only going to be here for 2-3 years. Why don't we give Sanders a shot? So I do have to wonder if, again, we don't know if that didn't happen. Tommy could have been down there beating down doors. Tommy could have really been, hey, get my guy. So we don't know that. I do want to point that out. We don't know that, but I would hope that at least a little bit of, hey, man, it's 3rd round, Big Marky. Just saying. Just saying, that boy 2 on the board. I'm just saying, as a team that just moved from, L.A. to Las Vegas or San Diego, I don't know how many other, Oakland and all these other places, that is lacking a team identity, even though I think they're growing it pretty good. I think they're doing a good job growing it now. Who's lacking a team identity? We might need a rookie who's going to come in and be number 1 in jersey sales. So let's hear about the relationship between Shedeur and Tom.
So what's the origin of your relationship with Tom? Did it come about through your dad or something else?
Well, far back, I'll say a couple years ago, he extended his hand. He was like, come work out with me in Tampa. We flew down there. Dad came and we rode with him. He took me in his truck to this field, to his high school field. Then from then on, he was just telling me knowledge, and I filmed everything. I recorded everything. So now, even sometimes I go back and just listen to the things that he said at that time, and it registers. You know, everything that he said back then registers now, and it applies. So that's why I'm thankful for him.
And I actually want to talk about this because there's been almost a criticism of Shedeur, and we've got deeper into it. And this is more, what is and as you can see him literally, step by step getting trained up by Tommy there, Tommy the Bradyist. And some of the sentiments around Shedeur Sanders and his lack of talent started to come out. And this is not wrong. This is actually correct. This is the reason why so many people love Cam Ward. Reason why people love Caleb Williams is the fact that they're new Patrick Mahomes. It's the Patrick Mahomes mode. Can you get a guy that, all right, he can throw on schedule, he can do those things, all right, but whatever. But more importantly, at this point in the NFL, can you do it off platform? Can you do it with multi-arm angles? Can you do it XYZ? Shedeur Sanders, as you're seeing, and I'm sure I'm going to have this clip playing multiple times, he is polished, and that's something that you're going to keep hearing in the offseason. You're going to keep hearing people say it. He's polished almost to his detriment. You know what I'm saying? Where these modern quarterbacks, like a Cam Ward, you'll see he's going to detach his body from his lower body, throw sidearms. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes with the sidearm throw. There's a lot of velocity that they can generate just from their upper body, just from the whip that they have and dropping their arm down and stuff like that. If you see this, and this works for the type of quarterback he is, this is straight up textbook 1, 2, 3 up here. You know what I'm saying? I would stare at the quarterbacks when they were practicing, when I was working out, just to make fun of, because I had a buddy who was a quarterback. But they would come right here with it. You know what I'm saying? Put the football on the wall and then zoom. You know what I mean? It's like one of those fundamental 1, 2, 1, 2. So everything is super clean with Shedeur. Everything is very crisp with Shedeur, but it almost leaves him rigid when it comes to his ability to adapt to the NFL, right? Now, I'm not sure if that's something that he wants to add to his game. Does he want to add some of those sidearms, off schedule, XYZ? I don't know. Maybe that's just not his bag. I think Shedeur Sanders can get it done like I said, he can kill him with great timing and great. I mean, like I said, Kirk Cousins has done it. Matt Ryan's have done it. Like that's who I see when I'm talking about the top end of his ceiling. Obviously, he doesn't have the arm of a Matt Ryan, but I can see him still doing what he does, still being a very, very quote unquote rigid quarterback, or quote unquote. When I say rigid, I mean within the polishedness. You know what I'm saying? Because the quarterback position in the NFL, especially when the way that they are surrounding and kind of really throwing these kids to the wolves and saying, hey, here's a wide receiver, terrible offensive line, go run for your life and hope that you can, make every throw. That's what they want to do. They want to put all the onus on the quarterback, which I just don't think is right. If you have a good offensive coordinator, what you should do is build around someone who can completely deliver and always be on time and is always there. And is always going to be able to make the right throw instead of having to have a Patrick Mahomes who can do all this other crazy off-platform stuff. And that's the beauty with Patrick Mahomes, if I can stop my yapping, and we're going to get into this little excerpt here, is that Patrick Mahomes can do both. And he has an offensive coordinator who draws up nasty offenses that anybody should be able to run as a quarterback. But also, Patrick Mahomes does stuff that not a lot of other quarterbacks can do to add on to that. And that's what makes it that much deadlier. So when you have that good combination, I think you can match the skills and the assets of what you have as a player. So I would love to see that happen. Someone get matched up there. So continuing forward, we're not gonna, because you know how Skip does with his stuff. Well, let's take a detour. We're gonna take a slight detour. So and then we're gonna get back into the Shedeur stuff. So Tom Brady, as we're talking about Tom and him, being not responsible or responsible for the situation with Shedeur Sanders not being a Raider. I guess he's in the crosshairs of Antonio Brown. Now, if y'all don't know, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. I really just want to introduce you to, if you're not familiar with Antonio Brown, he is having mass. Y'all know Ye, the Kanye Twitter rants, like that. That's what AB be doing, but he just does it every day, like every single day. He says some of the most deplorable things, awful things. He's leaking DMs about how he needs psychiatric help. Tom Brady, please don't miss psychology appointments. I don't know what this means. I'm confused. And then randomly started tweeting at Dion, and I know why you're doing it. It's because the Sanders name is trending right now, so you're gonna get your tweets off. So you start tweeting these old photos of Antonio Brown cooking, and hey, cooking, that's fine, but these are high schoolers, dog. Like these are high schoolers that may be freshmen in college, and you're a professional player, and you're talking about you're cooking them and cuss him out his name and doing all this crazy stuff. So we're not gonna go too deep. And here he is actually getting, there he is getting clamped up too. He ain't show all these. He ain't show all these though. He ain't show all these. So we're not gonna go too deep into the AB what's it called sector, unless y'all want to see more of it. I just thought it was interesting how it kind of overlapped with the Tom Brady thing that we were talking about. But yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep moving. Let's keep going. So shout out to Tommy. But let's get into some people not defending Shedeur. We're gonna hear from Warren Moon, who apparently doesn't have a lot of positive things to say. Then we're going to go into Edelman and Gronk, who do have positive things to say, and then finish off with Cam Ward here. So let's start with Warren Moon's advice to Shedeur Sanders.
I really talk about the past and what happened, but if you were to be able to talk to Shedeur, I don't know if you have, what would you tell him as he tries to win this job?
I think I would tell him you understand the things that you might have done wrong or did right throughout the process, the pre-draft process, but now you're drafted, you're in an organization, you got a chance to go in there and make a name for yourself. And it's how you go about doing it. It's how you attack it. There's nobody there that's solidified in that job at quarterback right now. Joe Flacco's in his 40s. We don't know what he has. Dylan, the kid from Oregon, he's a rookie.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, none of those guys have done anything in this league so far. So I think the job is wide open for Shedeur. All he has to do is go in there, put his head down
congratulations.
to the grindstone, and go after it and be the player that he's been the last few stops. So it's all in front of him. It's just the only thing that's affected him now is he's not a first-round draft pick, so it's the amount of bonus money he gets. Otherwise, he's still on the football team, and he has just as good a chance as anybody else on that team to make it.
Well, you know about playing with a chip on your shoulder. I imagine he'll have a pretty good one. Do you think, what are the chances in your opinion, who's the starter week 1 for the Browns?
Well, that's what I say. You use this as fuel. And this is good fuel for you to just go in there and show what people don't think you can do. I don't know who the first day starter is going to be, a lot of it's going to have to do with how all these guys play in the preseason, because that's what coaches look at. How do you play when the lights are on? So there's only 3 preseason games now, so you don't have as much of an opportunity to get out there and show what you can do, but you got to make the most. If you only get 5 plays, you make those 5 plays really 5 good plays.
There are some CFL rumors. That's how you started your
Yes,
career.
it is.
You were in the CFL until you were 28 years old. Do you think that would be the right or wrong move for him?
I think he's fine right where he is. I think he's an NFL player. I think a lot of teams looked at him that way, but because of other circumstances, it didn't happen as far as being drafted high enough. Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick.
Yes.
We look at what happened to him.
Hey, yo.
I wasn't drafted at all. You look at what happened to me. So it doesn't matter where you're drafted. It's how you handle it once you're drafted or once you get inside the NFL camp.
And then as dads, like you have your son Reich and like Dion, it's an interesting role because you have to be very almost tempered. You have to be very disciplined in how you handle that.
Well,
as the dad.
As a dad, probably an all-time great at that position, is a whole different mindset when you play corner compared to playing quarterback. You can't act like a cornerback when you're playing quarterback. Quarterback's a humble position. You got to be respectful. You got to be a leader. You're the face of the franchise. There's so much more responsibility that comes along with it. That's what he has to understand.
I can talk to Warren Moon all day, but I really.
And so it's interesting because they put that quote at the top, almost like clickbait, like, "Hey, you can't act like a quarterback when you're playing cornerback when you're playing quarterback." So it's easy to read that quote and be like, "Oh my God, Warren Moon is hating. Warren Moon is that." You know what I'm saying? And this is the same thing when I talk about the Nebraska video with Shedeur, when they try to take him out of context. That would be me taking him out of context. The whole video was him defending him, saying, hey, he's an NFL guy. He can do it. Everything's wide open. The cards are in his table. So to just extrapolate that down to that one comment, obviously they're trying to get their clicks, but I'm not going to do that. It seemed like Warren Moon is a fan of Shedeur Sanders, and obviously Cam Ward is a fan of Shedeur Sanders. So shout out to him for saying those words, and he did make a good point about the cornerback thing, and I think that was more of a comparison of Dion and less of Shedeur. That's the way I'll take it. But let's see what Gronk and Julian have to say about
it doesn't
Shedeur.
matter, where you truly get drafted. It just matters what you do with the opportunity when you get that opportunity. And he's going to have an abundance of opportunities, even though he was drafted in the 5th round.
This could be a turning point in his career.
I don't know why
that slingshots him into where he wants to go.
I'm always talking about, how I was disappointed I didn't go in the 1st round, but let me tell you, and also how I didn't go to the, picked by the Buffalo Bills, my hometown. But let me tell you, I used that as motivation to the highest power, Julian, and that's what you got to do. Every time we played the Buffalo Bills, I remember that they didn't draft me. And what did I do to the Buffalo Bills, Jules?
You killed him every single time.
Every single time. Use that as motivation, Shedeur, and just do your
Shedeur. Hey man, I get it. It's a weird name to approach it. We're gonna stop here with Cam Ward.
Who's the best quarterback in this draft that's not you?
Shedeur Sanders. I love it.
He did not love that answer. Wait, hold up. I think I might have a video in front of this. I want you to see Will Compton. I want you to see both of their face. Watch
Who's
their
the best
reaction.
In this draft that's not
They're
you?
smiling this one.
Shedeur Sanders. I love it.
And then yeah. Shedeur Sanders, dog. Shedeur Sanders. To close this out, just like we talked about, Browns GM reportedly worked hard to land Shedeur Sanders in 2025 draft, and a lot of teams had a great day 2 grade on him. So shout out to that. And I say all that to say, to kind of end this, which was supposed to be a Tom Brady conversation, is that a lot of people keep comparing him to Tom Brady, right? And I think that's positive. But the bigger picture here, and it's something that we've already talked about, is that every single NFL retired, current, and every person who wants to put their name on a statement and not be anonymous, and every single person in the league, was out of the league, XYZ, Super Bowl winning, Hall of Fame, all these different walks of life. Patrick Mahomes. Now you got Travis Kelce was going crazy. You got like we just heard from what's his face? What's his name? Gosh darn, a big Gronkowski. You got Young Thug, the president, Donald Trump of the United States of these Americas. Like, man. They created a monster in Shedeur Sanders. They created a marketing absolute monster. And I hope Tom Brady maybe later down the line, you know what I'm saying, maybe things work out. Because here's my thing, and I'll end it here. I do not think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a Cleveland Brown. I just don't think it. And I don't think it has anything to do with Shedeur Sanders. I think it has a lot to do with the Browns being dumb and having 17 quarterbacks. They're going to have to deal one of these quarterbacks. And what if Dylan Gabriel shows value? What if Joe Flacco shows value? Like, I think that they're looking at the quarterback room as assets and saying that if one of these other teams get, quarterback heavy or hungry, or the Raiders maybe a year or two down the line, maybe Shedeur Sanders shows promise and, hey, boom, quick little, Trey Lance type trade. Maybe something like that happens. He's a backup, but then becomes a Geno Smith type, where he can take those next steps. I think that's the most logical system, not because I don't believe in Shedeur. I just don't believe in the Browns. I think he needs to get out of the Browns and go to a place like, with people, because when you're in the building at the Raiders, I think, Tom Brady can do a lot more for you than when you're not on the outside and he can only just say, hey, this is a guy. But he's in the building doing guy things and he can, defend him. I think that's a match made in heaven. That's a team that would love an identity. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Pete Carroll likes that, but then again, Pete Carroll is 77 years old. So we'll see. But man, that's all we got today, man. I appreciate y'all watching the video. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy college football content. It's been a lot of Shedeur Sanders stuff. Been a lot of Sanders stuff. Sorry, man. That's what the people want. We will have more regular foosball content. I got, Michael Vick, what's it called? His spring football at Norfolk State video coming up. I got a Quinn Ewers video coming up. I already did my Cam Ward video. So if y'all gonna come in here and say you only talk about the Sanders, oh well, you're not watching all the videos, dog. Did you watch my undrafted free agent video? Anyway, man, I really appreciate y'all hanging with me, rocking with me. Y'all keep being great. You know you're great. I know you're great. We'll see you next time. Peace.